This is Angie Carpenter, Town of Islip Supervisor, welcoming you to this edition of Supervisor Spotlight. And in the studio today, we have with us Frank Boulton from the Long Island Ducks. Again, welcome back, Frank. Good to have you back.
Well, it's great to be back. Another baseball season, right? It's a little springtime out there today.
Oh, it is gorgeous today. It really, really is. But this is a special year, and I really wanted you to come in to talk a little bit about all of the exciting things that are happening in this 20th year of the Long Island Ducks here in the town of Islip.
I know, it's crazy. 20 years. It's gone so fast. 7.5 million fans later, and here we are.
It is amazing
for an exciting season.
It is amazing. And I, a couple of months ago, was at the ballpark and am still amazed at how pristine it still looks, like it was just opened last year.
Well, that's a big part of what we do. We make sure that we keep the ballpark clean. I like to tell a story that in the first 8 years, I had 7 different cleaning companies, and it's because we want you to come to the ballpark, throw your peanut shell on the ground, come back the next day, sit in the same seat, not find your peanut shell. Exactly.
Well, it is. It's a beautiful facility and truly a family-friendly, just invokes everything that you want to have it be when you're there with your family watching a game, hometown heroes. It's just, you don't get any more American and apple pie than that.
Well, we start off with a great product of baseball, the game of baseball. Still my favorite game, still a lot of people's favorite games. But, it's a competitive environment out there, so you want to be on top of your game. You want to make sure that mom, dad, Billy and Susie, grandma and grandpa all can come to the ballpark and enjoy a nice evening.
So let's talk about, the Ducks are part of the Atlantic League, and it's been around for a while. So talk about how it all got started.
Well, the league is 22 years, and Buddy Harrelson and I, Buddy was actually the first president of the league. I was the first chairman and CEO, which I still remain today. But we saw a need inside the game of baseball for players that were playing at the major league and AAA level, and they were released from their clubs in the last few days of spring training and really had no other place to play in the United States. So we created this boutique league of the 200 best players that were unsigned to a major league organization. And, it's nice when you put something on the drawing board and it actually works.
Yeah.
So, and it has. In fact, we just signed a 3-year major league agreement with Major League Baseball to try out some new rules in the game of baseball.
So what are those rules? What makes it different?
Well, baseball, for the first time since they've been recording statistics, last year was the first year where there were more strikeouts than hits. That's problematic to the game. If you take it as a premise that 70% of all balls put into play are outs, which they are, you're now having games where there was 37 minutes in a game last year without a ball being put into play. In other words, the game is dominated by strikeouts, walks, pitchers become very dominant. So Major League Baseball is concerned about that, how pitchers are bigger, stronger, throwing harder, and the players actually can't catch up to the ball. And if they do, it hits the bat and it's going place. Physics, right? It's right. Have a lot of home runs.
Well, also, too, from a fan perspective, there's got to be excitement with watching a pitcher who's able to keep throwing those, balls that people can't hit. But it gets a little boring after a while if there are no hits.
Right, because balls are not put into play. Right. So those guys that are standing behind the pitcher, are standing around. They're not exciting plays up the middle where the shortstop will get the ball. Of course, they're going to be those, but there's less of them.
Right.
There was a game last week in the major leagues where 57 pitches were thrown without a ball being put in play.
Wow.
So strikes, balls, foul balls, but nothing in play. It becomes boring, like you said, and baseball realizes to keep the younger fan involved in the game, they have to realize other sports have changed. In basketball, they went to a 3-point line and a shot clock. In football, you've moved the point after back. So there are rules, and baseball has not been tinkered with. And there is sort of an element of fans out there, older demographics, probably like myself, that are reluctant to change, but baseball is taking a very hard look, and they're thinking about moving the mound back. That was announced, and we were going to experiment. We're going to do it a year from now because we want to look a little bit more about the science around it, how that impacts 2 feet, moving 2 feet back, what would that do straight on a pitcher's elbow, let's say?
Well, let me tell you something. From someone who was occasionally thrown out a first pitch, I don't want to see the mound 2 feet back.
Well, if I were to ask you a question, and I've asked this question to a lot of real big baseball fans, is the pitching rubber closer to home plate or second base? What would you say?
Probably second base.
And you'd be wrong.
Oh, I said that because I thought the other was the obvious answer.
I tricked you. A little something. Yeah. But there's a lot of people that don't realize that. But just the thought of moving the mound at all throws panic into a lot of fans. But in and around this, what will that give the pitcher, the batter, a chance to see the ball for a millisecond longer and possibly get that ball into play? That's why Major League Baseball wants to look at it.
Right.
That's why, not this year, but in 2020, we will experiment with that.
So pitchers have to be, I would guess, wouldn't be totally supportive because they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit further.
Right, 24 inches.
Yeah.
It's interesting the way a catcher sets up and moves his glove can be as much as 24 inches, the way he sets up. So pitchers throw to the catcher's glove. They don't necessarily throw to the
over the plate.
Right. Throw to the plate. So yes, there's some science around it. There, we're going to take a look at a lot of things, but other rules where Major League Baseball would like us to play with bases that are 18 inches, not 15 inches, because there's a lot of ankle injuries at first base. Plus, it gets first base 4.5 inches closer to second base. So we're just tinkering a little bit. One of the things that's probably the most interesting part of all of this is that there's a system that's used in all major league and minor league ballparks now called TrackMan. And this is a radar device that will give you statistics, rotation of the ball, just the velocity, rotation. And it really dissects and gives the scouts, this is the way scouts are scouting potential players now. They're not really just going in like the old guys used to go and listen to the ball hit the glove and say, oh, okay, that's 89 miles an hour. Oh, that's 92 miles an hour. So it's a little bit more scientific. And that all of that TrackMan is being installed in all the Atlantic League ballparks this year. And it'll also be able to call balls and strikes electronically. So the umpire will assist in calling the strikes. He'll call fair and foul, home, safe, out at the plate. But after a period of time, probably the first 30, 40 days of getting used to the system, the TrackMan will call balls and strikes. So who sees the TrackMan? The umpire will have an earpiece. Okay. And the TrackMan will call ball and strike in his ears, and he'll go strike, ball. Very interesting. But you've been watching it on TV for a while where, a game where they show you on TV that the umpire called it a strike. And it's just on the cusp of it, but they show it to you, the radar on TV. Now that's going to be actually used. So will the fans sitting in the stands be aware of it? Is there anything? No, it'll be seamless to the fans because the umpire will still be there. He'll be assisting. Let's say a ball bounces and then comes through the strike zone and radar calls it a strike. Well, the umpire is going to call it a ball because it bounced. Right. So he'll be assisted. But it'll standardize most of our ejections in the game of baseball come arguing balls and strikes. Right. So this will take that out of the game. So we'll, actually we budgeted for less fines at the league level because the strike's going to be electronically called. Tough to argue with the computer. So from the dynamics of a fan watching the game, if the opportunity for arguing over whether it's a ball or a strike is virtually eliminated, does that play well into the experience of being there and seeing, that interaction happening and feeling one way or another? From the pace of play. I mean, the game needs to move along. We're also limiting the visits to the mound by the manager. Right. We need to take a break. We'll be back in just a few moments with Supervisor Spotlight. Hi there.
This is Supervisor Spotlight, and I'm Angie, Carpenter, Town of Islip Supervisor, welcoming you to our latest edition with our guest, Frank Boulton of the Long Island Ducks. We're here in the studios at Long Island MacArthur Airport, and not very far from the ballpark on Carlton Avenue.
No, it's minutes away.
Yeah. So we were talking about earlier about some of the fine-tuning that might be done to the game of baseball and your discussions and pick up on it, Frank, with Major League Baseball.
Well, our league, our president, Rick White, and myself, we spent a fair amount of time in January working with Major League Baseball in the commissioner's office and a fellow named Morgan Sward to figure out which ones we were going to take on at what time of the year. And so these new initiatives, if you will, are to really experiment, find out. They may not all make it to the big league level, but I would bet you that the probably one of the first ones you'll see is the limits to the mound by the manager.
Yeah.
You'll see that as early as this year. Now, everything they do, certainly they have to work with the Players Association, and there's going to be some give and take and all of that. But we're the science behind it, and without changing the game too dramatically, for sure.
And you're also, and I said this off camera to Frank, how lucky Major League Baseball is to have the Atlantic League, to have the Ducks, to be kind of the laboratory experiment, for these proposed changes before you roll it out to Major League Baseball.
You're right. And we've been sort of an incubator for some of the changes, too. There'll be some extra inning changes. There'll be, and that has been in the progress. The where you used to have an intentional walk and you'd throw 4 balls to the outside and the catcher would stand outside and catch it. And we were the first ones to say, the manager tells the umpire, walk him and just go down to first base. We don't need to have, 2 minutes of back and forth.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
So Major League Baseball did that last year. So we did it before they did it, and we've been in discussions with them about pace of play for probably 5 or 6 years. So it's really, this didn't just happen overnight. There's been a lot of discussion and negotiations and what rules make some sense and how can we make a positive impact on the game.
Well, I think it's just also very fascinating. You turn on the TV or you go to a game and you don't stop to think about everything that goes into it. And, certainly players and managers and things like that are something we know has to happen. And I know there's some changes at the Ducks this year.
Right. We have a new manager, Wally Backman, who's not new to most of the Duck fans or Met fans or Yankee fans or anybody in the New York metropolitan area. Wally Backman's been a minor league manager for 20 years. He managed the AAA club for the Mets for 5 or 6 years. He was part of the '86 World Champion Mets. He's a fiery player. He's good. He manages the same way.
That's great for the fans.
Yeah, and he's it's not just about arguing whether guys out is safe at home play. It's just about what he brings, his intensity, what he brings to the ballpark each and every day, and how he how that transitions to his players and that they're going to play. Nobody's not going to run to first base. I can promise you that.
Right. Nobody's
going to loaf after a fly ball or a ball that falls in. Everybody's going to hustle on this club. That's great.
That's great. And again, it all inures to a better fan experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And we sort of, a lot of our signings are guys that did play for Wally, either in the minor leagues, who ended up playing for the Mets. John Neese, a pitcher who just signed yesterday, and Kirk Neuenhuis and Matt Dendecker, all played in the big leagues in the last year and a half, as well as Hector Sanchez, who caught, I think, a little less than 100 games for the Padres a year ago. So we have a really good club. Now, that's on paper. That's why we play the games. We play 140 games.
How does that compare with Major League? How many games?
They play 162. We play 140.
Pretty close.
Yeah, we play 140 games.
That's a lot of games.
140 games in 154 days.
That's a lot of games.
A lot of games.
A lot of games.
I don't even put a uniform on. I get tired.
Yeah. But in addition to the experience of going and watching the game, we love the Ducks and all of the other things that are happening.
Yeah. We have, we've always had a lot of great promotions. That's not going to change this year. In fact, we're having a record 20 fireworks shows to celebrate our 20 years.
Great.
So that's an addition of 2 or 3 more fireworks shows. We have a Wally Backman bobblehead on opening
Oh,
Day,
that's
which
cute.
is
That's great.
Friday, May 3rd.
Was there ever a Wally Backman bobblehead?
Not in a Ducks uniform.
Oh, okay. All right. So he's had a bobblehead before.
I'm pretty sure he has.
Yeah.
I mean, if I've had one, he's had one.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be really exciting.
No, it is. And again, it's there's a lot of new at the ballpark this year. Unfortunately, we lost Bob Otone this winter, who had been our PA announcer
Yes.
for 18 years or so, and it's really a Long Island radio legend.
Right.
And
for sure.
so we, he's big shoes to fill there, but we have some nice candidates. It's just that Bob was a fixture at the ballpark,
Yeah.
and we will miss him.
Yeah. So the giveaways and all of those kinds of things are still going to be happening.
Absolutely. They're all on our website. Tickets are on sale now for all the individual games as well. We still have some season tickets and game packages available. You can go up to our website, liducks.com, and find out all that information.
But one of the things that I guess is just so synonymous with the Ducks and Long Island now is your mascot, Quackerjack.
Quackerjack.
It's amazing to watch the reaction, not just of kids, but of adults. They almost become kids around Quackerjack.
Right. We like to go in a lot of parades. We have a float, and Quackerjack is on the float, and it's amazing to watch the people get how excited they get to see Quackerjack, like at St. Patty's Day,
Yes.
And so
saw him in a few St. Patty's Day parades this season.
So it's very gratifying.
And Little League openings. I saw Quackerjack this past Saturday.
He goes to bar mitzvahs, he goes to teacher retirements. Quackerjack is omnipresent.
He actually was there for the kickoff of our 335th birthday. And again, people were running up, getting their picture taken with Quackerjack. It was really kind of cool.
That guy gets around.
He really does. He really, really does.
Yeah, no, it's great. And, it's funny, that story, Quackerjack, I'd love to take credit for naming Quackerjack 20 years ago, but it was a fifth grader from like Belmore, I think, in a class that had a contest.
And that's great.
Came across my desk. I said, "Contest is over."
Oh,
it's
isn't
over.
that
This
great?
is it. So it was just a great name, and it fits so perfectly.
So a fifth grader is probably 10.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So
11,
about 10.
Like
so this fifth grader would be kind of cool if you could find the fifth grader.
That's true. That's true.
Would be 30 now.
Right.
And come to one of the games this season in your 20th year. It'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool. I'll have to do a little homework there.
Yeah.
Good idea. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. Anytime. Well, speaking of ideas and what's happening, I mentioned earlier that the town is celebrating their 335th birthday, a year-long celebration, and we're having a Town of Islip birthday game at the Long Island Ducks on July 29th, I believe.
Did we settle on that?
I think that's the date.
July 29th.
I'm going to check during the break to make sure we're giving out the right date. But we're all very excited about that.
No, it's great. It's great to be, I've grown up my whole life here in the Bayshore Brightwaters area in the town of Islip, and it's just great to see so many great things happening within our town, including this airport that we're sitting in right now.
Right.
I flew out to Orlando last week, and it's so convenient for everybody just to drive over, park in the town lots, and get on your plane without a hassle.
Yeah.
It's really wonderful.
I was talking to someone last night who lives in Sayville, and obviously that's close to the airport. And they said the last time they flew in, the flight was a little bit earlier, and they were actually in their home before the flight was supposed to land. So they were very happy.
That's terrific. And that similar story happened to me on the way back.
Okay, great.
So and now with Frontier, obviously adding more.
Oh, there's a lot happening.
More airport.
But bear with us. We will be back in a few moments for our next segment of Supervisor Spotlight with Frank Boulton. This is Islip Town Supervisor Angie Carpenter welcoming you back to Supervisor Spotlight here at Long Island MacArthur Airport with our guest today, Frank Boulton from the Long Island Ducks. And, I say you're from the Long Island Ducks, and we were talking before the break about the airport and the really wonderful things that are happening here. And I just want to mention that, Frank, I thank you for your service as a member of our Airport Advisory Board. And we've seen a lot of really exciting things happening here at the airport the last couple of years. And I think that group of volunteers that serve with you have really helped make a lot of that happening in raising awareness of the airport.
Well, you put together a really pretty good group. When we have these meetings, I like to listen and learn from a lot of the people around the table because it's a group of very influential Long Islanders that care deeply about this airport and its future and its success. So it's good to sit around the table with people that have that much knowledge of Long Island, the people who live here, and care that much about providing that their expertise or lending their expertise to the whole project. I kind of, like I said, I sit around and listen.
Me too. But it's worked well I think, in raising awareness of the fact that this airport, yes, it's owned by the town of Islip, but it's truly a regional asset. And when you've got people like Kevin Law, who's the CEO of the Long Island Association, a huge business group, serving also as a volunteer on the advisory board, and having his advocacy out there in the business community of our airport and with the governor's office too. That's been very, very helpful. And the governor and his people have been very supportive of some of our initiatives, and we're very grateful for that.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen the governor a little bit more as of late and in the past year or so.
And maybe a goal should be that he's able to fly in and out of here for scheduled service from Albany to
that would make a lot of sense.
Islip Airport.
I'm sure there are a lot of elected officials that have to go up to Albany that would like that.
Yes, and a lot of other people, on lobbying day, instead of hopping in a bus, they could hop on a plane, would be a lot more convenient.
Well, that's all coming, right? I mean, it's
little by little. We're getting there.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it really is.
I get asked a lot about the status of international flights and customs, and I know that's been on the drawing board for us.
It is on the drawing board, and the first step, we're kind of bifurcating the process in doing the general aviation portion of it first, because right now we have 200 international flights a year coming in and out of this airport, at least through our general aviation facility, the private corporate jets, charters, and so forth. But that particular facility really needs to be redone. But in the process of redoing that, we're doing it with the idea in mind that eventually it could very easily then go into international on a commercial basis. To do the commercial first without having those airlines in place would be kind of speculative, at least. So we're doing it this way, and I think it's going to work. Yeah,
for sure. And there's definitely the need and the desire of people here on Long Island to have more access to this airport, to get access to other cities.
Right.
So it all seems to be trending in the right way.
Yeah. We're in a good place. I really
Absolutely.
think we're poised to see some exciting things happening. When I said, when we came back and introduced you as the owner of the Ducks, you've also done so many other wonderful things in the community, and I really want to mention that. And one of them being one of the most pivotal things that happened in Bayshore in turning that downtown around was the YMCA coming there, and you were there from day one and so instrumental in helping it happen. And then the further anchor for the downtown with the Boulton Center, having these incredible productions and an arts venue right there in the middle of the downtown has really added a tremendous amount of
thank you
positive.
For that. Yeah, the Region Theater, which is the Boulton Center now, was where
Theater
I saw
was using it.
When I saw the Elvis Presley movies and Hard Day's Night and growing up, so Old Yeller there, you know. So when it became dark and worse than that, when it was
dark was good compared
theater.
To what it became. Right, exactly.
Right. So when it fell into a bank, it actually fell into North Fork Bank's REO portfolio. I spoke to John Canis and was able to work out a deal to get it, and then we raised the money and we donated it to the YMCA. And so it's in its 15th or 16th year now.
It is amazing to think about that.
It's
and,
just,
not just the theater opportunities, for the community to go see, great entertainers and productions, but also, too, during the summer, the Y Summer Theater for young people. That is just awesome.
Yeah, Tiana does a great job with the youth theater, with the youth theater group, and all year round and their productions. So it has a lot of different sides to it. I mean, I think there's still more we can do with it. You're only limited by your own creativity.
Right.
And Bob Pedersen does a great job with the Y. I recently, I went away for a little bit this winter, and my wife got me to exercise every day and got me back into the gym. So I've been at the Y almost every day recently, and it just, again, the Y is 20 odd years old, and I was the chairman of the Capital Campaign.
Yes, I remember.
I had this reign of like 12 years as their chairman, but it is so great to see how vibrant it is, and how everybody from little, like 2-year-old children to senior citizens using that facility on an everyday basis.
If you go there early in the morning, and I've been kind of derelict in not getting there as often as I should, but to see 90-year-olds, on
awesome.
equipment, maybe they're not on that treadmill going, 3 miles an hour, but they're really, they're taking, advantage of it and really lengthening their lifespan.
That's so true, and it's really a community. The Y's got nearly 10,000 members in that organization, but it never really feels crowded, because it's so well programmed. And whether there's a spin class going up in the loft, or the fitness center, or people swimming in the pool, it just seems to just be so vibrant. And after all these years, it's so great. It helps build a community.
And when you're in the Y, you never stop to think that it was a movie theater once upon a time.
Yeah, I do.
When you're talking, I do too, because I saw Jaws there. I think it was one of the last movies there. But to hear Frank say there's a pool and, an indoor track and the loft and all of the equipment and a preschool program. You see those little toddlers coming in every day. But it was a theater, and talk about
such a well-run
reuse of a facility and not knocking it down.
Right. Well, our major benefactor wanted that to be, a point of emphasis. That was one of the anchors. I mean, Bayshore now has the anchor of the Y, and has had it for 20 odd years
at the West,
and then the hospital. And Northwell has just done a fantastic job. I mean, Southside Hospital is a trauma center now. It's as good as it gets, really.
Yeah,
we're so
when
fortunate to have two great hospitals in our community. Good Sam and Southside. We're very, very fortunate.
Yeah, we and I too, as the supervisor of the town, to have those facilities in one township is really quite remarkable when you think about it. It
really is, and they coexist very nicely, and the level of care that you can receive at both those institutions is phenomenal. So we're very, very fortunate.
We are. And we're very fortunate to have you here and have the Long Island Ducks and be celebrating 20 years. I know that we're talking about it at the town. We can't wait to come to that game in July and see Quackerjack and the new players and the new manager and
a lot of new.
Celebrating before you turn around, it'll be 40 years.
So it's April 26th. We open up on the road, May 3rd at home.
May 3rd at home.
And
that's a Friday?
That's a Friday.
Okay.
And it's going to be an exciting season for sure. And
all right.
Thanks for having me today.
If I don't see you around town, I'll see you at the ballpark.
See you at the ballpark.
Thanks so much for being here, Frank. And thank you so much for watching and listening to Supervisor Spotlight.